Thank you so much for joining us on Weather Out West. If you haven't joined us before, this is an hour-long show where we tell you what's happening weather-wise across the western United States. I'm meteorologist Ashley Ruiz. On this Thursday, February 5th. We'll check in with forecasts shortly, but first we're going to continue to track the cleanup and efforts and lingering impacts of back-to-back winter storms. At least 85 people have died through it all, and tens of thousands are still without power. Road conditions continue to be a big concern as well, where significant snow is still seen on streets and sidewalks, causing commuting and parking headaches. In Boston, some places were fully inaccessible.
That part's been a little bit of a hassle. A little ways down, the teeniest little pathway, and then a big snowbank for me to get over into the car. So I have to always do a little gymnastics.
The state senator who represents the area filed a letter with the state pleading for additional resources like snow melting machines.
The public has a right to expect a baseline of safety and an ability to take care of the basics.
The city says it has given out more than 1,600 snow-related violations since last week, but they are responsible for intersections and roads being clear. Situations are similar in North Carolina. Rianne Stockett reports.
Madison County 911, where's your emergency?
Operators answering calls at the Madison County 911 Center. County Manager Rod Honeycutt tells us that during the first 24 hours of the winter storm, they had a significant call volume increase because of road accidents. Now he says the storm's passed and the emergency call volume has gone back to normal. Still, they have concerns about some of the secondary roads that haven't been cleared yet.
On some of our secondary roads, you're going to see those stranded motorists, especially when you get up around 3,500 foot elevation.
That same sentiment was shared by other drivers we interviewed, like Marshall resident Brian Coomer.
I mean, the roads are treacherous right now. I mean, there's no two ways about it. They've had a hard time keeping up. I mean, that's a lot of snow.
Well, the biggest concern that the county and residents shared with us were the roads. Secondary roads are still covered in snow and ice. Another concern that people shared with us was having enough supplies, whether it be propane, ice melt, or feed.
And we've sold a lot of propane here shortly because of the big snowstorm and all that, and selling a bunch of feed.
Remington Webb works at Silver Mill Feed, and he says they've run out of propane and ice melt.
And we've had phone call after phone call of people asking if we've had propane, and we just had to tell them no.
But something they do have plenty of right now is feed. We spoke with Coomer as he was picking up feed for his animals, and he says that the winter weather does make caring for his animals a little difficult.
Things like their water freezes, you have to constantly get them fresh water. They eat more just to try and stay warm, and it's a constant battle with the temperature and the snow in their pen and things like that.
And you heard them say caring for animals is difficult in these conditions. That's exactly what workers at the Richmond Zoo in Virginia are facing as they take extra steps to protect animals with the recent ice storms. These giraffes have taken up residence inside, kept warm by massive heaters. See, they look cozy there. Zoo staff also stocked up on backup generators and extra bedding to help fight the freeze. Animals that normally spend time outdoors have to be moved inside. And some babies at the zoo are being cared for by human caretakers to make sure they stay healthy and warm.
We do have warm heated shelters, but these guys don't always know how to choose the best spaces. So when that's the case, we step in and make those decisions for them to keep them happy and healthy.
Certain species are more than happy to frolic in the frigid temperatures, as you can see right there. The wolves, snow leopards, and bison seem to feel right at home in the freeze. The zoo is still closed to the public due to icy pathways, but they're hoping to reopen soon. Even South Florida was hit with the frigid temperatures earlier this week, so much so that wildlife was seeking warmth too.
So here at Manatee Lagoon, a lot of manatees come to our warm water outflow. Manatees cannot survive in water that's 68 degrees or cooler.
Luckily, the manatees know the best place to seek warmth. That includes this natural gas facility in Lake Worth Lagoon, which pumps out warm water for Florida wildlife. And earlier this week, more than 200 manatees were spotted swimming and relaxing in the area. Cute little sea cows there. The Manatee Lagoon has attracted manatees for decades as they've learned to travel toward the warm waters discharged from the Energy Center. We told you yesterday about how flooding is an unintended consequence of these winter storms. Well, another is coastal erosion. In Maryland, Assateague State Park superintendent says a lot of the sand is frozen, which then leads to a unique phenomenon where heavy chunks of sand will keep falling off as it thaws. You saw it happen right there. The drop-offs caught the attention of a few surfers with the ocean still settling down.
It's a 10, 12-foot drop-off, the escarpment there. Big south swells, big nor'easters, and it tends to be the sweet spot where the dune system, the dune field will get cut out a lot. There's not a lot of vegetation that's really taken hold of the dune there either, so it doesn't really have a lot to keep it in place.
With how unstable that leaves parts of the dunes, the park had to close some entrances off. And despite all that is happening on the eastern half of the country, some are making the best of these cold conditions. Jim Altman from our sister station in Hartford, Connecticut, tells us how the cold is helping an ice sculptor.
It's a bit of an anomaly, but in Cheshire, working in the field is always welcome. The workday is on a roll with chainsaws and with chisels. Bill's daily grind has taken him outside.
This is, for us, the best winter we've had in a long time.
A refresher in Cheshire. Bill Kovitz owns Ice Matters.
Ice Matters is a full-time ice sculpting company.
And while most days are spent inside a 17 by 17 studio, for the past week, his office has been on an acre, with little strain to the circuit breakers. Sure, there have been stranger things, but the chance to continuously sculpt outdoors is an anomaly of late.
From a cost perspective, it is fantastic. I mean, honestly, this time of year or how cold it's been this year, it's actually warmer to be in our freezers that run at 17, 18 degrees. When it's cold like this, production is a lot faster.
It just makes everything a whole lot easier. The summer, we're always, 100 blankets, we got to protect everything twice as much, and we enjoy it. Way better than the summertime, for sure.
They say especially in February, cutting-edge art has an audience.
Our biggest winter festival of the year is coming up this Saturday, the 7th. It's up in Putnam. It's a Fire and Ice Winter Festival. Goes from about 12, 1 o'clock and then into the night.
And with cold as the collaborator. Like the ice, the message is clear.
For my occupation and my industry, this is my kind of weather. Gear up, get comfortable, and come out and breathe some fresh air.
And the forecast remains favorable for an ice fest. You can see Bill's works on display at the Putnam Fire and Ice. That happens this Saturday. We're in Cheshire. Jim Altman, Fox 61.
It's been so cold east of the Rockies, whereas the western side of the United States, we're suffering with some of the lowest snowpack we've seen, and that includes in Denver. And we're in the middle of winter, and Denver's snow is well below normal, while temperatures are well above normal. Kathy Sabin and Katie LaSalle are here to talk about it.
Hello from Denver, Colorado. I'm 9 News Weather Impact Team Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabin. We enjoyed a fast-moving system that brought in a few clouds, so we had an amazing sunrise and sunset scenario play out this week. A lot of viewer pictures showing that. We also had a little storm that brought a little snow, and snow is something we are in desperate need of. So far for the season, 13.4 inches. By the end of the season, we like to be closer to 56, running way below average. But if you know Colorado Colorado, March and April are our snowier months, and so we do have time to catch up, but right now it's all about this dominant ridge of high pressure. Storm track remains north, but there's an area of low pressure cut off from the main flow. Some of the models have this approaching Colorado and could be a moisture producer for the southern mountains and foothills in about the next 72 hours. Otherwise, it's cold and snow, and all of the weather impacts will be for those traveling from the Midwest to the Northeast. We have high clouds coming in around the top of the ridge, but nothing coming out of those clouds in the short term. So we're tracking this low to the south, but also a deeper trough off to the north and west that could bring some bigger changes to us next week. We're running above average for the rest of this week and the weekend, with very little in the way of moisture coming into Colorado in the form of clouds, rain, or snow. And so temperatures start around freezing today, top out in the mid 60s this afternoon. Average high is 44, and look at this temperature trend, 20 degrees warmer than average. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday, Tuesday, there's an increase in cloud cover and the chance for colder air to move in and maybe some beneficial snow for the state because we are running so far behind. We're also tracking a little Arctic air mass to the north and waiting to see if that's going to impact Colorado next week as well. So for now, it's like springtime in winter in Colorado.
I'm 9 News Weather Impact Team's Katie LaSalle. Colorado is bracing for, again, an unseasonably mild and dry weather pattern. The record for this Thursday, February 5th, 76 degrees set back in 1963. We're not talking record highs, but mid-60s expected and nowhere close to record lows. We will see overnight lows above freezing as we go through the next couple of days, at least for the Denver area. But from the west coast to Colorado, the mountains to the plains, here in the state, we are seeing temperatures above normal. 50 degrees near Steamboat Springs and Vail this afternoon, mid to upper 60s across the metro area and east. Denver's average high for this date is 44. Now we will continue to see a stretch of 60-degree temperatures. It'll feel nice, lovely, pleasant, breezy at times for tomorrow. The records were 70 for Friday, set back in 2015, a warm year at 74 on Saturday, but we all are going to be seeing these temperatures in the 60s at least through Monday, all due to this ridge of high pressure. So the west coast nearing some record warmth here for our state, temperatures well above normal. The jet stream just too far north, very wavy pattern. So again, the northeast will be seeing cold, snow, just too far north for us to really see any precipitation. But some good news around the corner. We're watching this next area of low pressure Tuesday into Wednesday. That'll bring us some much needed snow for the high country, because as of this morning, Colorado's snowpack sitting at 54% of median. And what we really need is just more of it. It is historic low in terms of the lack of snow that we've seen. What we're really hoping for, a 30 to 45 day active period with about 2 storms a week. That'll really start to pick up as we get into later parts of February, hopefully into March. We're keeping our fingers crossed for optimism, but in the meantime, we are just getting close to record values of 60-degree plus days ever on record. So it has been an unseasonably mild winter. We will continue that pattern over the majority of the next 7 days, with the next chance for rain, snow Tuesday into Wednesday.
And speaking of unseasonably mild winters out west, including San Diego and Portland, record high temperatures yesterday. We'll check in with Vanessa Paz and Rod Hill next. Now let's take you to San Diego, California, where changes are on the horizon, including a break from the 80s and 90s. Vanessa Paz has everything you need to know in today's forecast.
Happy Thursday from San Diego, California. I'm CBS 8 meteorologist Vanessa Paz. Before I get into what's happening weather-wise, I do want to give a shout out to one of our viewers, Julie Gale. She sent in this incredible background image of last night's sunset. And yeah, if you haven't been to San Diego, yeah, this is pretty much us in a nutshell, just gorgeous sunrises and sunsets. And of course, we have our lovely viewers always sending in proof of that. All right, now let's go ahead and get into kind of the nitty-gritty of what you can expect weather-wise. Tomorrow, we're looking at noticeable cooling. So we've been under this hot and dry streak, and then tomorrow we'll finally start to feel some relief. We'll have some clouds move in with uneven clearing throughout the day. This weekend, Super Bowl weekend, it will be pleasant, mostly sunny and dry. And then looking ahead to next week, we have an area low that will usher in cooler temperatures and bring us the possibility for showers just in time for Valentine's Day week. All right, let's go ahead and focus in on our watches warnings and advisories. Zooming on into San Diego County, we still have this wind advisory in effect all the way through this afternoon. Winds are still sustained out of the east up to about 25 miles per hour with isolated gusts, especially in those wind-prone pockets, gusting anywhere between 45 to 55, which is why it could be dangerous, especially for those high-profile vehicles. And of course, for those people who have loose objects around their home, they should certainly tie them down. The strongest winds will be hugging the foothills of the mountain areas as well as some parts of the valleys. And then we'll have that breeze continue on into the coastal neighborhoods as well. And then notice how those winds shift directions. They go from the east kind of out of the south. And that's kind of the beginning of onshore flow, that cooler, more moist air making a return into San Diego to cool things down in time for the weekend. All right, so here's a look at today's highs. We'll be warm once again and well above average, 15 to nearly 20 degrees warmer than normal. In the low 80s for the coast and inland valleys. For the mountain areas, we could have some spotty showers due to the increase in clouds this afternoon. Places like Julian will top out in the high 50s, and then we'll be in the high 70s for our desert communities. Big picture, there's that trough of low pressure responsible for that cooling we're expecting Friday and Saturday. It weakens towards the end of the weekend, so by Super Bowl Sunday, we have some warming making a return. All right, so here's a quick look at the rain chances and what we're expecting. Notice how it starts to climb, the chance of rain Tuesday, especially into Wednesday. And this is one of our models, big picture. I'm going to fast forward this, pausing it at about Tuesday. This is our European model, which always tends to be on the ambitious end, but it shows that we can get some light showers as early as Tuesday, but the most active day would be Wednesday, potentially lingering into Thursday morning. All right, let's go ahead and showcase your coastal and inland 7-day forecast. We are going to stay warm today, and then we'll have some cooling relief finally on tap looking ahead to this weekend. But notice how temperatures shoot up by the time we get to Sunday, and that's all due to weak ridging making a quick return, and then it backs off in time for the start of next week. So the mountain areas will be in the low 60s for the next couple of days, warming for everyone. Sunday and Monday, especially in the desert areas where that heat is going to linger all the way through to Tuesday. And then we cool down, everyone starts to cool down once we hit that rainstorm system on Wednesday and Thursday.
And that ridge of high pressure continues to bring spring-like temperatures all the way up into the Pacific Northwest as well. Let's check in with Portland's Rod Hill to see how long it's expected to last.
Have you heard? Portland lately is the place to be in terms of if you like sunny, warm weather in February, and we'll do it again today. I'm meteorologist Rod Hill. You can see the clouds arcing well around us. This is actually correct, and I triple checked this. 72 in Newport along our central coast yesterday. 72 in Bend, which is the heart of resort land over in Central Oregon. Just crazy warm. Downtown Portland on Wednesday hit 60, which tied the record for downtown Portland. Now today, most of us are going to be sunny and warm, but there is an exception, what I like to call the low cloud lockdown, because of the temperature inversion, which is feeding the east wind, which also feeds our sunny pattern for most of us. But from Hood River in the gorge to the Dalles, out into Pendleton, up into parts of the Columbia Basin of Washington, it will be cloudy and it will be still and it will be chilly, with temperatures being held mostly in the mid-40s, while the rest of us are sunny and 60 or better in many cases. That pattern continues on Friday. But here's where it all changes over the weekend. Now, incoming weather systems over the weekend will eventually break those low clouds I just talked about, also put an end to the east wind. We had winds at elevation in the Columbia River Gorge last night blow as high as 76 miles per hour. They're gusting to 40 coming out into East Multnomah County or the Portland metro area. All of that will go away over the weekend as well. All right, you wake up Saturday morning, raining at the coast starting, and then it's raining before noon in Portland, maybe as early as 9 or 10 o'clock. And notice, this is not scattered precipitation. This is Saturday at 5 o'clock. This will be solid, steady rain, potentially for much of Saturday afternoon, much of Saturday night, and much of Sunday, with some pretty good rain rates at times. And weather models responding with some hefty numbers, showing over 2 inches of total rain. This is basically Saturday and Sunday at the coast, and well over an inch of rain in the valley. Multiple weather models show multiple outputs. This is one of the wetter ones, but even the dry weather models show that Portland gets over an inch of rain, with a good 3/4 of that coming on Sunday alone. So everything is pointing to a wet weekend around here. There is 95 1/100 of an inch of rain even out in the gorge. And if you're wondering about snow levels, unfortunately, they'll be as high as 6,000 or slightly higher on Saturday. That's rain at pass level, rain at many of the resort bases. Sunday, they come down a little bit, but you still might have to be on the upper chairlifts to find just pure snow and not kind of a wet mix. Here's our Chinook Wind Casino Resort camera in Lincoln City. Beautiful clear sky morning where it will be easily up into the low to mid 60s again today. Our state capital getting up to about 60, and that's after a frosty start. Some fog along the Columbia River will be washing out, and we'll get Vancouver to look like Portland, just beautifully sunny. All right, here come the numbers. Low to mid 60s coast, upper 50s to low 60s. A lot of these numbers could be too low. So upper 50s, low 60s up and down I-5. Shows 56 in Bend, but it was 72 here yesterday. Could be in the 60s again today and well up into the 50s out east. You see the 40s from the Dalles to Pendleton. All right, Portland 7-day. Nice and mild and sunny today. Tomorrow we have the rainy weekend coming. In fact, Sunday 46 to 50 with steady rain and then scattered showers to start next week. And right now we show a dry Wednesday. That would be followed by developing rain on Thursday of next week.
One Central Washington couple bleeding blue and green feels like an understatement. They explain the inspiration behind their Seahawks-themed home that's drawing a crowd. Home sweet home for a Washington couple who bleeds blue and green. Seattle's Savannah Welch takes us to Othello, where a couple of Super 12s have turned their home into an iconic Seahawks landmark.
In Othello, Washington, you don't need GPS to find this house. Just follow the blue, the green, and the giant Seahawks logos painted right on the walls.
I was on Facebook one day and I seen a garage painted with the Big 12 on it. So I came home and asked my husband, hey, can we paint our house Seahawks? He says, sure, why not?
That why not turned into a full-blown Seahawks landmark, one that's been turning heads for 11 years. Roger and Sharon Enns say it's become an Othello icon.
The logos on the house, I painted them myself. I got a old-time projector like we used to have at school and set it up there just to get the rough design. And then at dusk, I'd go paint and follow my lines and get it all put up there.
The Seahawks spirit doesn't stop at the front door. Inside, multiple rooms are always game day ready.
I love to decorate, so I go a little overboard. Some people tell me.
And their Seahawks real estate keeps growing. Roger built Seahawks-themed apartments nearby, complete with jersey numbers as addresses. With the big game around the corner, they're feeling confident that this rematch against the Patriots will settle the score once and for all.
We're going to get our revenge this time. We're going to do it.
Yep, we got a great team. They're united, and I think they're going to do an awesome job.
And if the Seahawks win the Super Bowl, the couple says they're ready to add even more to the house. Savannah Welch, King 5 News.
The ultimate fans indeed. After a quick break, we'll check in with Spokane's Thomas Patrick and Boise's Hector Mendoza. Take a look at this. A zoo in Des Moines, Iowa is getting into the fun of the Super Bowl countdown by having some of its residents pick the winner. On Tuesday, the Blank Park Zoo let its African lions make their prediction. Deuce and Zarina had their choice of 2 barrels, each adorned with the logos of the beloved Seattle Seahawks, I'm a little biased if you can't tell, and the New England Patriots. Deuce walked up to the barrels first, but decided to take a break and defer, and that's when Zarina stepped in and made her pick the Seahawks. Smart girl. This might be a prediction worth banking on. The zoo's animals have been correct nearly 80% of the time over the years. It's a little smile for you. Oh, knocking it over. There we go. Love to see it. Foggy and cloudy mornings in eastern Washington, so we'll take you to Washington, but rain is going to return to the forecast over the weekend. Spokane's Thomas Patrick is tracking it all for you in today's forecast.
I'm meteorologist Thomas Patrick in Spokane, Washington. It's been another one of those mornings where we've been tracking plenty of fog, but still expecting a warmer afternoon. It's just a matter of when the fog is going to burn off. This as of 9 a.m. You can barely see the clock tower and the pavilion from across the street. Visibility is at about a quarter of a mile. The thing, though, is that all morning long, it's been ebbing and flowing. There was a moment where things were clearing up. We actually saw the sunshine here at our South Hill studios in Spokane, and then it got re-foggy all over again. So such a tricky and fickle thing to forecast for, but we did just get extensions into that dense fog advisory as temperatures have been stuck in the 30s for the most part this morning. Here are the dense fog advisories. It was first issued just for Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, then got expanded into other regions after 8 a.m., after the fog decided to start to expand and become more widespread for the region. So now Sandpoint and Ritzville and Grand Coulee and Winthrop all under dense fog advisories, along with Lewiston. That goes until 12 p.m., though the worst of it has, as it usually is, been over the West Plains of Spokane County. We're talking Airway Heights, Medical Lake, Reardon, and westward. Always a trouble spot when it comes to the foggy conditions, and the camera images certainly prove that. This is Sunset Highway, Highway 12 on the way to the airport. Can't see anything. But this time around, I saw Coeur d'Alene's camera also be just as foggy. This is the I-90 look. Usually I-90 runs basically up and down this camera image. You also can't see anything, even just mere feet in front of the camera, just quite literally the lamppost, which stands maybe 1 foot in front of it. And that's all you could see on those cameras. So it got really foggy, really nasty, especially late morning here. The cloud cover departed, so the clear skies can lead to more fog coverage. That I'm not surprised about. It was just this back and forth look as we went from foggy to not foggy, foggy to not foggy, and then foggy all over again. That's right, like flipped like 3 times through the course of the morning. So the trick here is that the deeper the fog stays, the cooler it's gonna end up being, basically undercutting our initial forecast. I'm optimistic that we should be able to hit the 50s, but the longer and deeper the fog lasts, the less likely it is that we're gonna hit 50 degrees. Because if you're stuck in the fog, you're stuck in the temperature inversion. That would actually put temperatures in the 30s, not just 40s. That's how you bust a forecast real fast, is on a foggy, strong temperature inversion day. If we break the inversion, no problem. And the Palouse is probably the easiest no problem forecast, because that is one of the few locations that has not seen any fog today, nor the last couple days. And that's how that stacked out in Pullman. 2 straight days of record high temperatures, including 58 degrees yesterday. Today, a forecast 56 to tie it. So the fog just being a persistent issue today in the midst of what is still a very mild weather pattern. The weekend is when things will start to shake up. A storm coming out of the Pacific is going to make for a very wet scenario all throughout the Pacific Northwest. For Spokane, that means Sunday appears to be a bit of a washout. A rainy day, but still mild this weekend with temperatures in the mid-40s.
And that pesky ridge of high pressure continues to keep stagnant conditions around the region, including in the Treasure Valley. Boise's Hector Mendoza has those details.
Well, a really warm winter afternoon yesterday as temperatures got into the mid to upper 50s through the Treasure and Magic Valleys. Only spots in the mountains that really struggled to reach some of those warmer temperatures was there in Stanley, hitting at 38 degrees, and not much is really going to change here. So as we look at the headlines, we are going to see that this inversion and this ridge of high pressure gets at its max strength here through today. That's what's going to bring along for some areas near record highs, not just today, but heading in through tomorrow. And it's going to take some time before we see a sort of shift in the pattern here as we get towards Sunday and Monday, as we do have a strong enough system that's going to scour out this inversion, cool down temperatures, and then bring a chance for some showers. So again, some hazy skies here as we look off into the distance at our Skycam 7 camera. We are going to notice a lot of this here through the rest of this afternoon. So air quality is something we're going to continue to keep an eye on. Right now, still forecast in that yellow or moderate category. So for a lot of the folks that have some respiratory respiratory problems, that is something to really consider. Really limit your time outdoors here for today if that's something that is on top of mind here for you. And that's again going to continue here for tomorrow, as this is what's going to impact here for today and through the most of the weekend. Now, the big thing is it's going to slowly start to weaken here towards tonight and heading into Saturday. The next system that comes in, it's going to be a low here off the Pacific. It's going to make its way through, flatten out that ridge here on Saturday. The only impacts we see to this is going to be cooler temperatures in the mountains, but not really much to notice here in the Treasure and Magic Valleys. So again, as we look at some of the high temperatures here for today, 56 degrees expected for Boise, getting near 60 again for Mountain Home, and really struggling to get out of those upper 30s for the Stanley area. And as we look at our 7-day forecast, really staying warm all the way through Sunday. Now for the Magic Valley, it's going to take a little bit more time for that precipitation to make its way on towards your area here, as we're expecting a lot of those showers to really pick up, getting closer to midnight and heading early in through Monday morning. A lot of these chances really continue through Tuesday and Wednesday, as we'll see those temperatures cool off and get more seasonal as we head towards Tuesday and Wednesday. The other thing is going to be some of the impacts we'll see in terms of winds, and then also some of those things that'll pick up here through late Sunday, expecting it to really come in just a little bit earlier here through the Treasure Valley. Temperatures still stay near 60, so this is what's going to allow for some of the warmer temperatures, keeping a lot of that rain here. But as this cold front comes in, we are anticipating some of the snow levels to drop a little bit more heading in through Tuesday. This could bring along a chance maybe for some snow showers, but still, as those snow levels start to drop, we won't really anticipate a lot of this precipitation sticking around here through Tuesday for the Boise area. So that might be a bit of a stretch. So we'll pay attention to that as we get closer to the middle of next week. Now for the mountains, that is a bit more time for that precipitation to make its way on towards your area here, as we're expecting a lot of those showers to really pick up, getting closer to midnight and heading early in through Monday morning. A lot of these chances really continue through Tuesday and Wednesday, as we'll see those temperatures cool off and get more seasonal as we head towards Tuesday and Wednesday. The other thing is going to be some of the impacts we'll see in terms of winds, and then also some of those things that'll pick up here through late Sunday, expecting it to really come in just a little bit earlier here through the Treasure Valley. Temperatures still stay near 60, so this is what's going to allow for some of the warmer temperatures, keeping a lot of that rain here. But as this cold front comes in, we are anticipating some of the snow levels to drop a little bit more heading in through Tuesday. This could bring along a chance maybe for some snow showers, but still, as those snow levels start to drop, we won't really anticipate a lot of this precipitation sticking around here through Tuesday for the Boise area. So that might be a bit of a stretch. So we'll pay attention to that as we get closer to the middle of next week. Now for the mountains, that is also going to be the case. Again, some of the temperatures there in some areas get near 40. That's what's going to allow for some of the rain in certain mountain valleys. And as you climb up in elevation, that's where you'll start to see a little bit more of those only snow totals there in some of those areas. And again, a lot of this doesn't look like it stacks up to too much, maybe about 1 inch to 2 inches in some of those mountain spots. But again, looking on ahead here through Saturday, we'll see this high pressure diminish just a little bit. Then as we see that sort of dip or sort of weakening in that ridge, well, that will allow for some of the showers to make its way through, and those winds will start to pick up heading into Tuesday.
Coming up, 2 Washington lunch ladies are getting into the Seahawks spirit ahead of Super Bowl 60. They're going viral and getting recognized by the team. Welcome back to Weather Out West. Now let's take you back to California, North and Central California, specifically Santa Clara, where the Super Bowl will be held. Monica Woods tells us what to expect on Super Bowl Sunday and what the rest of the weekend looks like elsewhere.
I'm meteorologist Monica Woods, and we're checking in on our regional headlines. This is going to be for Northern and Central California. Of course, we've got to keep an eye on that big game weather for the coast in the Bay Area for Sunday. For the Valley, more morning fog and then afternoon sunshine. For the foothills, we've got our fuel reduction program going on with Burns. That's going to help to reduce some of the fuel that potentially could spark big wildfires as we head towards the drier months. In the Sierra, warm and dry. All right, here's a look at what we're seeing right now. We check checked in with CAL FIRE. Multiple agencies and units are trying to reduce some of the fuel up in the high country and the foothills. So you can see these plumes of smoke out there. They're going to continue this while the soil moisture is up. We don't have any rain and no strong winds. Just again, in a preventative effort to keep some of the fuel at a very low level heading into the dry summer months. We've got rain on tap, not in the short-term forecast, which is actually some pretty good news. We've got dry weather and areas of fog for our Thursday. Then we'll see some clouds drift through with a few sprinkles coming in for central and southern California. A weak weather system, just a little bit of a disruptive pattern, especially with our persistent weather pattern that we've seen here recently, starting to mix things up ever so slightly. Good news for that forecast in terms of the rain showers. They're going to hold off all the way into the weekend. So at Levi's Stadium, we're looking at temperatures in the 60s and 70s. Great for the fan experience. Heading into the big game on Sunday, kickoff 3:30 at the stadium, 67 degrees and fairly light winds as well. Once we get past that forecast, things start to change quite a bit, especially into next week. Early Monday, showers starting to move in extreme northern California, but it's enough to kind of weaken this high pressure ridge because then subsequent systems have a better chance of actually bringing us rain and snow more widespread into the middle of next week. Checking in on our Thursday forecast highs, we're in the 50s for the high country, near 70 throughout the foothills, quite a bit warmer than what we usually see in the beginning of February. As we move into the central Sierra, highs are going to be in the 50s and 60s with near 70-degree temperatures for the Central Valley. Even with some of the fog, it's a little slow going to get things warmed up, but once that sun comes out, warms us up pretty quickly. We'll see that across the Central Coast as well. In fact, by the time we get to Morro Bay, San Luis Obispo, we're in the mid-70s to near 80. Atascadero, same situation there. Traveling northward to Santa Cruz, 71 degrees. And then farther north into the Bay Area, highs are going to be in the 60s and 70s. If you're not necessarily familiar where Santa Clara is, it's a little closer to San Jose for that big game. So that's 75 there for our Thursday forecast high, but beautiful all across the Bay Area forecast. Northwest coast, we're still calling for highs in the 60s and 70s and low to mid 70s on the north end of the valley. Moving our way into the capital region, areas of morning fog, afternoon clearing, and highs in the 60s to near 70. Again, about 5 to almost 10 degrees above average. We're about to shift things around though. Highs are going to cool into the 40s by the time we get into early next week for this year, and that's going to bring us a better chance of seeing some of those snow showers finally start to move into the high country. 60s and 70s for the rest of the week. Into the weekend for the foothills, we're dry into the beginning of next week. Same for the Bay Area. It's not until we get into deeper into the middle of next week that we start to see a better chance of more of those widespread rain showers and another chance of rain coming our way for Valentine's Day.
A Grays Harbor community, a county community in Washington is celebrating the Seahawks. Hoquiam Mayor Ben Winkleman has issued a proclamation temporarily renaming the city Hoquiam in honor of the Seahawks Super Bowl run. The name change will remain in place through Sunday. I wonder if it will continue into next week as well if we get that big W. Staying in Washington, a lot of people obviously will be celebrating the Super Bowl on Sunday, but it's going to come with some rain. I'll take a deeper dive into the forecast and time out that rain next. A very happy Thursday from Seattle. I'm King 5 meteorologist Ashley Ruiz with a look at your forecast. It's been very foggy all morning long for much of the area, and tomorrow may be similar, but we'll have afternoon sunshine, temperatures 50s and 60s, which is well above normal, but that's going to change over the weekend. We'll have rain at times, lowering snow levels into next week as well, which is good news, especially for our Cascades, because we'll have snow at all of our passes. I wanted to show you yesterday's high temperatures just to show you the difference. Seattle, 62 was our high yesterday on Wednesday. Meanwhile, New Orleans, 61. So yes, it was warmer in Seattle than in the deep south, and 62 wasn't even the warmest temperature that was observed. And some weather stations picked up on temperatures near 70 degrees, but officially Chehalis around 67. Olympia broke a previous record high of 64. The previous record was 60. This This ridge is going to hang tight today, and it's going to start to break down a little bit, moving east as we head into Friday. By the weekend, it flattens out a little bit, and that's going to send disturbances through the region Saturday into Sunday. And then eventually we're going to get some influencing from a trough of low pressure, and that's just going to keep things unsettled with waves of rain. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, you see rain around. Today, tomorrow, no issues whatsoever. But we need the rain. But to start, snow levels are going to be very high. Saturday, going to be about 5,500 feet to 6,000 feet. But by early next week, we'll have lower snow levels. Enjoy the sunshine while we have it, and enjoy the warmer temperatures if you're a fan of it, because things will change. We're going to go back to winter by the weekend. And what a morning it's been. Yes, we had widespread dense fog, and we still have fog as of this mid-morning, but you see a lot of blue above. We just have some patchy fog. You can see downtown Seattle. You can see Mount Rainier, which always brings a smile to our faces when the mountain is out. High temperatures today, depending on where you live, mid and upper 50s to lower 60s for the Cascade foothills. To the north, where some spots could get trapped under fog later in the day, likely going to be a little cooler, but then the coast lower in mid 60s. Tonight we'll have temperatures dipping down to the 30s and 40s, and tomorrow's going to be very similar, I mentioned, for much of the area. The coast likely won't be as warm, but interior areas still in the upper 50s to lower 60s. Let's talk about that rain. Not going to have to deal with it today. We'll have high clouds increasing on Friday. Here comes that first wave of rain into Saturday morning, going to stick around for much of our Saturday before we get yet another wave on Sunday, and it just continues off and on into early next week. And in terms of rain totals, we're likely going to get some bouts of heavy rain, especially Saturday, Sunday, and likely into Monday as well. Even our passes getting some rain before our snow levels start to drop. Taking you through Saturday night, Sunday morning, you see how snow levels going to be high enough to where we don't really get much in the way of pass level snow, but then it drops down below pass level as we head into Monday, and that's likely when we'll start to get some of that accumulating snow at all passes. So some good news there. I know it's not going to solve our lack of snowpack, but something, anything will help. Next week, our temperatures will be in the 40s and lower 50s. Staying in Western Washington, from coworkers to friends, and now viral sensations. 2 SeaTac women are cheering on the Seahawks this weekend with nearly 1 million of their own fans behind them. Seattle's Sebastian Robertson introduces us to lunch ladies behind the Break Room Chronicles.
This is gonna be hot for them. It was gonna be hot.
This steakhouse in Bellevue is not where Lanisha and Melissa imagined they'd be shooting a video when they first started.
Hey, how you doing? Hi. Usually the videos that we do, they're like between 15 and 30 seconds. We can knock them out in a few minutes.
Together, the 2 grocery store workers have built an audience of more than 700,000 followers on TikTok, winning them over one at a time with their lunch lady dance moves.
Yeah, I started dancing in my living room a long time ago. I needed something to spice it up, so I brought it to work, and me and Melissa just hooked up, and we just made it happen.
From songs about produce to recently dancing their heart outs for the Super Bowl-bound Seahawks, the Break Room Chronicles, as they're called, clearly resonate.
Being the lunch ladies, we're going viral. The lunch ladies, there's nothing out there like this. Like the lunch ladies we're like kind of the naughty lunch ladies, but we're still keeping it clean.
With their Seahawks set to make their 4th appearance in the Super Bowl, these lunch ladies are doing it big. They've landed a brand deal to help promote a local business in a way that only they can.
I think we killed it. We did a bunch of different scenes with it.
The 2 met at work, a Safeway in SeaTac, and for years have used the break room as a background, rotating out backup dancers and capturing pure joy along the way. But the lunch ladies, now a viral sensation, are keeping a few tricks up their sleeves.
We have one more song out there that we're ready to do with our team and our crew.
Hoping for a Hawks win and to reveal a never-before-seen performance. In Seattle, Sebastian Robertson, King 5 News.
Gotta check them out on social media. Coming up after the break, united in marriage, but divided in football. Many of us understand that, a divided household. Well, coming up next, we'll meet the Washington couple, one a Hawks fan, the other devoted to the Pats. A Yakima, Washington couple's NFL-style wedding predicted the Super Bowl 60 matchup. The Seahawks groom and Patriots bride kicked off their marriage in September at the start of the season. Now they're sharing their love of the game with Seattle's Farah Jadran.
This couple is committed. There might be some timeouts over disagreements while watching Super Bowl 60, but they know for certain in marriage, there's no off season.
Entering the field from the tunnel is Yakima bride Stephanie Knupp. Her something blue was in her Patriots jersey. Her groom, Eric Knupp, suited up in his Seahawks best.
Watching her come out with her dad, coming down the aisle, that was probably my favorite. Finally getting to see her, since I didn't get to see her since the day before.
In the playbook, there are X's and O's, hugs and kisses. We are talking about getting married. All football teams have coordinators, or in this case, a wedding coordinator, Stephanie's mom, for the September 20th, 2025 ceremony.
For us, it was a blast. It's not something you get to do every day.
Guests wore their favorite team colors, and instead of blowing bubbles, they waved pom-poms and tiny foam fingers. Trade bouquets of flowers for footballs. Be sure not to fumble. And the cake, a special wedding topper, was the trick play.
We are gathered here today to the most important game of Steffi and Eric's life. Today we celebrate their touchdown into a lifelong partnership.
That's referee Reverend Christina Van Horn, called up to make sure no one was offside.
It was like a big football game. Everybody was cheering them on. It was wonderful. It was so much love that I'm still smiling. Every time I talk about it or somebody asks me, I'm just like, it was their love.
Tom Brady wore 12 on the field. So did Stephanie on her Super Bowl wedding day. But we know the meaning of 12 runs deep for Seahawks fans.
Safe to say that Eric is now your favorite 12?
On some days, yeah.
Let's talk Super Bowl 60.
Have you already decided how you'll handle celebrations? Because only one team can win. You guys are the home team, but only the Patriots or the Seahawks can win.
One of us is going to be happy.
Yeah.
And me as a football fan, I love watching a good game. It's like, I love when Seattle beat Denver, but that Seattle-New England game in the Super Bowl, I think is one of the best Super Bowls that they ever played. It was so competitive.
It was right down to the last minute.
I got the Tackle Lights challenges with you. You're teammate for everything. I now pronounce you our Super Bowl champions, Eric and Stephanie. You may now huddle up front for your first kiss as a married couple.
Touchdown! In this Super Bowl, holding is allowed and encouraged.
The home team couple has not yet taken a proper honeymoon, and when you think about it, a trip to Santa Clara on February 8th sounds fitting, but that is pricey. Right now, the Knupps plan to watch the game together in Yakima. Reporting in the King 5 studios, I'm Farah Jadran.
If you want more Super Bowl content, Seattle's King 5 has streaming special coverage at 8 p.m. every night leading up to the game. Just download the